Hey guys, welcome to another video on the Inside Spurs channel. Happy Friday, early afternoon. Hope you're well, hope you had a good day so far, and look, you're looking forward to a weekend. Obviously, Spurs playing tomorrow at 5:30 away to Fulham. We'll talk about the preview ahead of that game. We're also talking about a quite interesting story around the Saudi League and their interest in richarlison, and that potentially coming ahead again into the summer, and also some good news surrounding the Champions League 4th, 5th spot. So I'll talk to you about that in a second. Just want to say though, if you are new, subscribe. If you're very much welcome to join us for the journey. And I'm going to start with the Fulham preview because, hey, do you know what? That's a little bit more relevant than the other two stories. I think you would agree. Look, right, London derby, 5:30 tomorrow away at Fulham. It is I just want to think from now to the end of the season, Spurs got 11 games left. These are all big games. I think that's fair to say. This obviously, with a win, would take us into the top 4. Goal difference wise, obviously, we have a +2 goal difference now due to the fact that we had a massive goal difference swing from the last weekend against Villa themselves. You can just add to it. If you win maybe 2 by 2 or 3, it's just that little bit more of a buffer. That's what's key. So let's talk about Fulham. Obviously, they in the last 3 games, they won 2 of the last 3. They're sitting right now in 12th position. They're kind of in that weird position where they're not getting relegated. I think they're like 14 points clear of the drop zone. I think they're 5 points. They're 5 points back of Newcastle in 10th. To get into sort of the European spots, they're about sort of 7 or 8 points. So you never know. A good run of form takes them right into that area where sort of West Ham, Brighton are. But it might be one of those where mid-table is kind of where you'll see them finish this season. This season, they've played 28, they've won 10, they've drawn 5, they lost 13, so 35 points this season. They've scored 40 and conceded 44. So look, they score and concede quite a decent amount. So that's something to keep an eye on when we look at some of the other stats. So this season, at home, I'm just going to worry about home. They've won 8, they've drawn 1, they've lost 5. It's quite impressive, to be honest, that home record. I think for a mid-table team, when you think they've played, 14 times they've won 8, you take that, wouldn't you? You would, because if you're a mid-table team, you would think about the top 6 clubs. I'll include Chelsea for now, but when you look at Villa are in there, and you've got City, you've got Arsenal, Liverpool, Villa, Spurs, all these other quite decent clubs inside the top 10, I think winning 8 of your 14 is something you probably would take. I was looking at some of the other stats this season, which I found quite interesting. But to be honest, for me, I just think they're a decent team. I do think they're a decent team. I think this is a team that we've got to be wary of. When I was looking at sort of the last time out, they did lose last time out away to Wolves 2-1. We lost to Wolves there on the season 2-1. So, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Tomato, tomato, potato, potato. Looking at the team, Leno's in goal, Robinson, Bassi, Adarabai, obviously we speak about quite a bit on this channel, Timothy Castagne at the back, Lukic and Harrison Reed into the midfield, with Iwobi, Harry Wilson, Pereira and Muniz, or Muniz, however you want to say it, apologies if I said it wrong, as the starting team. Paulinho was on the bench, and I expect Paulinho to come into the starting team. Muniz, or however you want to say it, sorry again, I think he's got 6 and 6, so something to be careful about there. The thing with Fulham that I've kind of noticed this season is they do get on the ball quite well. It's not one of those where they're going to sit back and, they'll have 25% possession at home to Spurs. I think Spurs will probably have more possession, but I don't see Spurs having 70%. I think Spurs will have like sort of 55%, They're going to play their stuff. They're physical. They're an athletic team. Bassi and Adarabai might be one of the quicker centre-half partnerships this season. Robinson at left-back, I think we've spoken, myself, and if you are, but quite a few of you have spoken about Robinson being someone that Spurs should look at this summer. Really, really talented left-back. Really, really talented left-back. In the midfield, when you think of, the fact that we had Lukic and Reed, or, throw out Paulinho in there. Paulinho, obviously, a bit of a stud. Iwobi has been playing a bit further forward, but Iwobi played at centre mid for Everton and had a bit of a career revelation. Harry Wilson, dead piece specialist. Pereira seems to be sort of that creative link between the attack and the sort of the deeper midfield. And they'd obviously have Raul Jimenez, I think, who is back from injury for this game. I think last weekend they said he was a bit too soon. I think you'll probably see him on the bench this weekend. Looking at Spurs, I think that, we're missing Mickey van der Ven, and I think supposedly we're going to be missing Excuse me, not long eaten. We'll miss Richarlison, but I think when you look at our team, I expect something fairly similar to last weekend. I think you'll have Big Vic in goal, Destiny and Porro as the fullbacks. We're so lucky for those fullbacks, honestly. Obviously Romero and obviously Radu Dragujin, he will be starting, hopefully, unless something crazy happens, but he should start, which is really, really good. I'm really excited to see a little bit more of Radu. Into the midfield, I think you'll see Basuma, Sarr and Maddison. I think it worked really well against Villa. And I think this is the thing, you're not going to change too much from that team that won at the weekend because it won so well. And I think your front three will be what it was last weekend. I think it'll be Johnson on the left. I think it'll be Kulu on the right. I think it'll be Sonny up top. You don't change a team that won 4-0 away to someone that was in fourth, or someone that is in fourth, sorry. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to the game, personally, for me. If I had to take a punt on a result, I think Spurs win. I think Spurs win 3-2. I think it's going to be a hell of a game, and I'm looking forward to watching it for sure. Moving on a little bit, I just want to quickly touch on the Champions League story first. So, if you're not aware, there's a system and a table of Italian points, all these things. It's very confusing, all right? But basically what it is the top two of nations inside of European football with Champions League, Europa League and the Conference League. The top two will be given an extra Champions League spot for the next season, okay? So basically, the better you do in a European competition, the better and the more points you earn for your country. So for example, Man City, if they win the Champions League, England will get given a lot of points for that. If they get knocked out in the next round, they earn less. Same with Arsenal. Liverpool in the Europa League, same sort of thing. Villa in the Conference League, same sort of thing, right? The reason why that's so important, I will read you this from Miguel Delaney, who said that this West Ham result, obviously the one yesterday against Freiburg, the German team, result makes it a near certainty that the Premier League will get 5 Champions League places. It would basically take a total wipeout for English sides in the quarterfinal to prevent this, which you'd have to think is unlikely. I think you're right, Miguel. I think it is unlikely. Obviously, the draws came out. Arsenal drew Bayern. Man City drew Real Madrid. Liverpool drew Atalanta. West Ham drew Bayer Leverkusen. That's a tough one. Of all the teams you wanted to draw, it wasn't them. And I couldn't tell you who Aston Villa drew in the Conference League. I did see it, and I just cannot for life remember. I'm going to take a punt and say it's Fiorentina, but I'm probably saying it's probably wrong. But look, the more they go through, the more points we earn. I think Italy are currently top, and I think England are second, with Germany a third. Like I said, West Ham dumping Freiburg out is a huge swing. It's like playing the team above you with goal difference, things like that. Sometimes it's just a huge swing. Same sort of thing. Freiburg going out. Dortmund have got Atletico Madrid in the next round of the Champions League. Pretty brutal team to be playing, I can't lie. I've got a weird feeling that Atletico might do well in this tournament. Just Simeone seems to get them cooking at the right time when it comes to knockout games. And I think, other than Leverkusen being in the Europa League, I think that's it for German teams. So when you've got to think, we've got 2 in the Champions League, we've got 2 in the Europa League, and we've got 1 in the Conference League. All you really need is Aston Villa to do all right in the Conference League, Liverpool to do all right in the Europa League, and at least one of those 2 teams to do all right in the Champions League, and we're A-OK. So what that means is, currently stated, Spurs, where they are, would earn Champions League football for 5th, but we shouldn't aim for 5th, we should be aiming higher. That's what my point is on that, all right? A bit of good news, at least, a little bit of room to sort of breathe. Let me finish off with Richarlison. So, I spoke about in January how the Saudi League wanted Richarlison. Spurs were fine to sell him, but Spurs wanted to get their money back, or near enough their money back. So Spurs obviously spending about 60 million on Richarlison. Spurs probably wanting about 50, because obviously paying off and FFP and all that sort of thing. It came with a telegraph through Mike McGrath, who said that Saudi Arabia make renewed play for Premier League stars with Richarlison a target. It comes after Saudi Pro League failed to lure Mohamed Salah last year. A couple of points of schools of thought on this one, and I was thinking about it. Let's think of it the way that Richarlison's to be sold. Okay, let's start with that one. We bought him for 60 million now, a couple of years ago. Probably gave him a 5-year deal. You're on the hook for 12 million a year. So I'd say by the summertime, you paid off 24 million. That would leave you with 36 million. Let's call it 35 to make it a round number. If you were to sell them for 45 million, you made a little bit of profit on your FFP. You've got more money to reinvest into the squad. You know, if you wanted to get Santi Jimenez, if you wanted to go and get Nico Williams. I don't know. And I think this summer would be the summer where his value probably is at its highest. The fact that, he has had a good run of games with goals being scored. I don't know. It's a tough one. But then when you look at it, let's look at it with Richarlison staying. Let's give both sides of the coin. Richarlison staying means, look, he's still in his sort of mid-20s. He's younger than me. All right. I know I look 18. Stop it. But I'm definitely not. I'm definitely a lot older than that. I think if you look at it and go, look, well, if we had him for another year, we're playing European football next year. So our guys who maybe aren't the exact starters or maybe who don't play as frequent minutes, they're going to get minutes because Spurs aren't going to go to Son, you're playing 2 or 3 times a week at the age of 31. It's not going to happen. Salah doesn't do that. And Salah is a fitness beast. I don't hate keeping Richarlison on that front and allowing Spurs to kind of go, look, we're going to focus on the wingers. We're going to get that sorted. And then the following summer, that's when we look to sort of have a look at the striker situation with Son obviously getting a little bit older. But I also think if Spurs got offered 45, 50 million, I think they're going to take it for Richarlison, to be honest. I do. I just think they look at that and go, are we ever going to get that sum of money for him again? Saudi would take his wages on completely. They probably could treble his wages anyway. They'd probably give him 300-400 grand a week. Obviously, Brazil's number 9 and all. I don't know. I'm interested to see what you guys think about that because that's a difficult one to kind of judge and think about. But we shall see. We shall see. Anyway, guys, then the video. Hope you enjoyed it. Drop a like on the video if you did. Hit me in the comments section. Your thoughts, feelings about the game tomorrow. What you're hoping for. Your goal scorers. Are we going to win? Are we going to lose? Are we going to draw? Whatever it is that you think. Obviously, your thoughts, feelings, and if you're happy about the fact that, look, Spurs are on course for Champions League football next year due to the extra spot. Obviously, your thoughts, feelings about Saudi's interest in Richarlison. Are you selling him? Are you keeping him? What are you doing? Subscribe to the channel if you're new and hit the notification for more. Better guys, in the video. And I'll see you all very, very soon. Take care, guys.